GTA Run and Gun is a game style that many of you may or may have not played before. It's a game style that's very dear to my heart and something I've played since 2013. With over a decade of knowledge, tricks, and cool facts, I've compiled them into an Iceberg video so you guys can enjoy and learn more about Run and Gun. If you guys have never played Run and Gun before, then sit back and enjoy this gtaonline Iceberg, and hopefully it interests you to try out some Run and Gun for yourself soon. Over the past few weeks, I've compiled a list of different facts, tips, and tricks that I've picked up over the past decade and compiled them into the most known to the least known. Some of you guys already know what an iceberg video is. Basically, the top of the iceberg is the most known facts, but the lower you go under the water and the lower the iceberg goes is the lesser known facts. So grab your popcorn and let's get on with the video. Tier 1, the surface. Run and Gun. So the first one on the list is Run and Gun, of course. The basics of Run and Gun is assault rifles only, pistols only, no helmets. Once you get deeper into the competitiveness of Run and Gun, it does change and you do learn that there's more to it than just the basics, such as spawn points, the maps, the angles, two-stepping, 360. It's just the deeper you get into it, the more you learn little game mechanics that you learn and pick up along the way. Run and Gun was created from an original rule set called basically ARs only, no lesser, no helmets, which was created back in like 2013. And then Gold RevolverS kind of coined the term Run and Gun and made it very popular back then. And so he's kind of coined as the creator of Run and Gun. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of how Run and Gun was created, and that is Run and Gun. ARs and pistols only. So the two main rule sets for Run and Gun is assault rifles only and pistols only. So back in 2013, the only decent submachine gun that they had was an Uzi, and it only had 16 bullets and the range wasn't that well. So it was an obvious choice to pick an assault rifle. And so there was multiple assault rifles. There was the Bullpup rifle, the AK, the carbine, the advanced rifle. Once you got to level 70, that was probably the best weapon of choice back then. This was way before special carbine or any other assault rifle like the battle rifle came out. And so the assault rifle was a clear choice for automatic weapons back then. So that's a big reason of why they chose assault rifles in the beginning. And so for pistols, it is a semi-automatic weapon. The only weapon of choice where you have to control your roll and control your side steps because you cannot roll while you're shooting like you can with an AR. So it does take more skill and more precision with a pistol. Headshots do matter the most, and with those weapons, it does have a competitive edge on headshots. So those are the biggest reasons why people chose assault rifles and pistols only in the beginning of Run and Gun. No helmets. Another big rule set in Run and Gun is no helmets. Helmets in GTA eat bullets, and that's the simple thing about it. Nobody wants to play Run and Gun versus someone that's just gonna sponge bullets and not die. Run and Gun is all about speed, angles. Whoever reacts first correctly with the best aim gets the kill. So that's why there's no helmets in Run and Gun. Special carbine rifle. As you guys may know now in Run and Gun, when you guys play, there's a lot of people using the special carbine. It's a gun that relatively is the most popular weapon in Run and Gun nowadays. Back then in 2013, they had no special carbine. It was only the advanced rifle, the carbine rifle, the AK, or the bullpup. It was introduced fairly early back in March 2014, but in the very beginning days of, I guess, team deathmatches and ARs only playstyle, there was no special carbine. So there's a lot of people trying to grind Rooftop Rumble to get level 70 and get that advanced rifle because that was the best weapon at the time. But nowadays, PlayStation for sure has a big rule set of special carbine only. Xbox is more lenient on it. We don't really care. We kind of use whatever gun we want because we do have a more, I guess, free-flowing playstyle. But on PlayStation, they are more competitive and they do have a rule set of special carbines only. The special carbine's movement is easier and it's more consistent than any other ARs that there is. And that's why a lot of people do use it over other weapons. But yeah, that's kind of a brief history and reason why special carbine is the most popular. Training Facility 2. So if you are newer to Run and Gun, you might always play this one map called ****, Run and Gun ****, which is a derivative of this original map called Training Facility 2, which was created by Tuco, who is an RNGK, over on PlayStation back in November of 2014. This is the most popular Run and Gun map that there is on GTA. From the spawn points, from the angles, and just the way it looks, people love it. It currently sits at 2.3 million plays, but that does not count for all the remakes that people's made. There's a remake on Xbox, which is one of the most played. The Xbox one has 2.4 million, but there's also remakes on Xbox, which add up to millions and millions and millions. There's a one on PlayStation that currently sits at 12 million plays, which is a remake of Training Facility 2. But yeah, that is the main Run and Gun map and the most popular. Tier 2, Beneath the Smoke. The YouTube influence. So back in 2013 or 2014 when RNG kind of first started, the biggest influence for run and gun and the way it spread so quick was through YouTube videos, montages. People were mesmerized by the kills. A prime example is RevolverS. He coined the term run and gun. He wasn't the only one that was playing run and gun at the time, but he was just the biggest to do it. And he kind of was the first one to be posting it, give big videos, and people sit around and watch his videos. I still remember when I was younger, I'd see him post, I'd get some food, sit and watch his videos. I was in love with the videos. I loved everything about it. It was just a key part of me wanting to play more run and gun. So YouTube does have a huge influence, and nowadays there is people like Fonshway who still carry run and gun on YouTube, and he's the biggest to ever do it. He's had so many people start run and gun. He's taught so many people how to play run and gun, and he also has an interview with RevolverS about the creation of run and gun and his thoughts and ideas through it. If you guys want to go check that out, I'll actually leave it in the description. I think it's an amazing interview, and go show him some love. So yeah, that's how YouTube influence really grew RNG to the next level. RevolverS. Okay, now RevolverS. He made his channel back in January of 2011, initially posting Red Dead 1 videos. His playstyle was still run and gun. He always ran out, never really hid behind walls, and he would just post montages, kills, and satisfying highlights with music behind it, and it really caught people's attention for Red Dead 1. And GTA 5 is really when it took like a pivotal turn, because he brought that playstyle over to GTA 5, and he was just miles ahead of everybody else. Just one-tapping people with his one video where he was one-tapping with the advanced rifle. I still remember that video to this day. I used to love watching it back then. And that was kind of the first part of run and gun blowing up on YouTube. He would post CVCs, he would post montages, he would just post highlights of run and gun. He's also the creator of this crew called Run and Gun Killers, RNGK, people might know. And it's one of the biggest crews to this day. He also has accumulated millions of views. I think on his channel, it's about 6.5 million views. And another big addition to that, he's had the best players for run and gun on PlayStation in his crew. And he also picked up the biggest YouTuber, Fonshway, which helped also carry the name. I think he's currently the leader of RNGK. But yeah, that's kind of the brief history and quick rundown of RevolverS. DarkLord. DarkLord is also a big name in the run and gun community. He started off on YouTube way back in July of 2012. Also started posting Red Dead 1 content, kind of like RevolverS, just highlights and montages, satisfying kills and whatnot. He still had the run and gun playstyle on Red Dead 1. So when he came over to GTA 5, he brought it over similar to other players. He joined a crew initially called UTLX, and he kind of built his name on Xbox a bit before switching over to PS4 back in late 2014. And his biggest goal on PlayStation was to just simply take over. There was a big beef between Xbox versus PlayStation, so his initial goal when moving over to PlayStation was just take over and be the best. And that's kind of when he made a name for himself, and he had a big rivalry between RNGK and his crew that he created called OTGX. OTGX was a big crew at the time. There was either RNGK or OTGX. Top players were either or in those crews, and that's just how it was. So on DarkLord's channel, he's accumulated millions of views. I do not know if he'll be back for GTA 6 to post more videos, but let's cross our fingers and hope he does, because he was a big influence and really brought a lot of people to the game that we love today. So yeah, that's kind of a brief history and background of DarkLord. If you want to learn more, please go check out my interview with DarkLord on my channel, linked in the description. Thank you. FTF. If you're new to run and gun, you may have heard what FTF is. It's kind of just a playstyle slash map. FTF stands for face to face. In this map, it's just a big oval, a big circle where you're just faced off. There's no walls to run behind. There's no walls to run around. It's just faced off with the opponent. A lot of people like to use this map for 1v1 or CVC scenarios just to see who has the better gun skill or game knowledge in that sense. Relocking, two-stepping, 360s, a lot go into this map to really see who's the best. Back then, there was gladiators. Nowadays, there's FTF. If you guys want to settle beef, it's always take it to FTF. It's kind of lesser known, so that's why I have it this low on the list. It's not as known as Training Facility 2. But yeah, once you get deeper into run and gun, you will learn what FTF is, and you might hear it from here and there. But yeah, that is FTF. Hide and gun. Hide and gun is another playstyle derived from run and gun. H and G is short for hide and gun. If you are newer to run and gun and you are playing dirty, people will tell you, hey, stop H and Ging, stop hide and gunning. And that's kind of what they mean. Back in 2015, hide and gun was only used by people that really didn't know how to play the game, and they were just, I guess, quote unquote losers that needed walls to get free kills. There was a video posted in April of that year by a guy named Chaun Reaper. He posted a video basically saying RNG does not exist on Xbox, where he was in a run and gun CVC against another crew, and that opposing crew did use walls and HNG them, and that kind of blew up. That video is now sitting over 50,000 views, so it blew up in the community for sure, and it really showed a whole nother playstyle that people can use. In the beginning, it really started with losers and people that weren't really good at the game just trying to get free kills, and it slowly became a playstyle that people played more often. Modern times, there is more skill in hide and gun. I'd say if there was a CVC with hide and gun and people all agreed to play hide and gun rules, there is a lot of skill in that. Back then, it did not start as that. I actually do have an interview with Chaun Reaper, and we go over that video and his start in GTA. If you guys want to check that out, it is linked in the description. People do renown him as the creator of HNG, since his video did blow up. Even though he was against it at first, his video initially sparked HNG and that playstyle, and that's why everybody plays HNG to this day. The Xbox and PS4 crossover. Unfortunately, GTA 5 is not crossplay between consoles, so Xbox and PS4 have always had a rivalry since they are separating consoles and there's no way to play with each other unless you go to the other side. So late 2014 and early 2015, there was a big war of PS4 versus Xbox. If you were around the community around that time, it was pretty hostile with the other side. There was people switching from PlayStation to Xbox, there was people switching from Xbox to PlayStation. For example, DarkLord switched from Xbox to PlayStation. That whole rivalry of RNGK versus OTGX started due to that. There was other players such as, Vitzy that stayed on Xbox, Chaun Reaper stayed on Xbox. There was a lot of people who stayed on Xbox and there's a lot of people who stayed on PlayStation. To this day, there is still sort of a rivalry between PlayStation and Xbox, but it's not as big because the community is not as big now. But I think there will always be a rivalry between consoles because no one fully knows. If you go to Xbox from PlayStation, the spawns are going to be different, the maps are going to be different, players are going to be different. Vice versa, if you go from Xbox to PlayStation, spawns will be different, map will be different, and the players will be different. So there will be differences all the time. The only way to really do it is if there was crossplay. So I cross my fingers and I really hope GTA 6 has that, so it'll end the rivalry and we can finally play PlayStation or vice versa. Hey, I just wanted to interrupt this video real quick, just to let you guys know we do have a competitive and community Discord called the Vice City Discord. It was made for Red Dead Redemption 2. We're also picking up people from GTA 5. Just leading into GTA 6, we're wanting to build up the community. That's where we'll be hosting tournaments. That's where we'll be posting content and just have the whole entire community conversating together, and it's really kind of just a hub to find other players as well. If you guys want to join, we have about 700 members currently. It's linked to the top of the description. So come on by, say hi, and get into the Discord. Thank you. Tier 3, Into the Depths. OTGX versus RNGK. Alright, so OTGX versus RNGK. This is a long story. I'm going to try to simplify it for you guys so I don't bore you guys. If you want to know the whole full story or majority of the story, I also have an interview I did with DarkLord where he told his full side of the story. It's linked in the description if you guys want to go check that video out. Now, the leader of OTGX is a guy named DarkLord, and the leader of RNGK is a guy named RevolverS. During 2014 to 2015, the rivalry between Xbox and PlayStation was rising. DarkLord went over to PlayStation and wanted to be the best over there. He created OTGX and went straight for the top people, such as RNGK. They were a well-established crew at the time, and they had the best RNG players. So DarkLord's initial response to that was to take them down and be the best. So they did a few CVCs, they did CVCs here and there. There was a video posted on DarkLord's channel back in May of 2016 where he did a CVC versus RNGK and called it the finale, and they were globally up 3-2 above RNGK. And ever since that video, RNGK has been posting more videos versus OTGX, but it was never officially RNGK versus OTGX. So it was, I guess, kind of reaching at that point, just trying to get that extra win to make it even, but there was never real tags. That was the final, I guess, official CVC from that era. So OTGX was up during that era. There was also a video posted on Vice City Secrets channel from November 1st of 2018. Right before RDR2 came out, they did a CVC versus RNGK, and OTGX ended up winning that CVC as well. So I guess at the end of the day, we can say OTGX is up on RNGK, but they are the only crew that was able to do so. Big props to both of those crews for being the top 2 crews in Run and Gun at the time. Yeah, I just appreciate both of those crew for really representing Run and Gun and what it stood for. If you were around the community at this time, you were invested into these CVCs. You were at the edge of your seat, eating popcorn, watching every single video that they put out. And it was just a big moment in time during, I guess, 2014 to 2016. It was just a big moment for Run and Gun. I really hope GTA 6 has these moments as well. But yeah, that was OTGX versus RNGK. Simple breakdown. The TikTok influence. Okay, now TikTok influence. Moving to modern times, YouTube is kind of not as big as TikTok. So there were creators such as Prox that first blew up through Run and Gun on TikTok. I think he sits at almost 250,000 followers to this day. He was one of the first people over there on that app to really blow up Run and Gun and brought a whole new load of players to the game. I think this was normally in the 2018 to 2021 era. There was this whole new influx of Run and Gun players that were coming from TikTok videos. TikTok is an easy way to really grow your audience and get more eyes on Run and Gun. Nowadays, there's people like Cracking IV. He's sitting at, I think, a little bit more than Prox, still at 250,000 followers on TikTok, and he represents the Spanish side of the TikTok RNG community, and he's already brought a huge influx of new Run and Gun players, and I really appreciate what both of those creators have done for Run and Gun. There's also people like PK or Pistol Killers who post clips on TikTok and gets millions of views. There's people like Jelly. There were people like Zerps. Zerps originally had GTA content. I think he's going into Fortnite now. But yeah, the main people are really Cracking or Prox. They really brought huge influx of new Run and Gun players to Run and Gun. So I appreciate both of them for doing what they did. TTG. Now, TTG is also another playstyle that derived from Run and Gun. It's a competitive playstyle where you're able to wear biker helmets, no bulletproof helmets, but you're able to use biker helmets, and you're able to use shotguns, machine guns, any other weapon except from explosives. You cannot use explosives in this playstyle, and you're able to use walls. So it's like HNG with upgraded and buffed rules with helmets and shotguns and machine guns. This playstyle got very popular back in, I'd say 2015, 2016, probably earlier. There was a crew called XLGX that really was the first people that I seen doing it. And then there was another crew called Six Fucks on Xbox that was very good. I don't know if it's the same Six Fucks that went over to PlayStation, but yeah, they were a pretty good TTG crew on Xbox. So if that is the same crew on PlayStation, props to them. But yeah, TTG is tactic game. Yeah, those are the rules or play styles. If you guys ever want to play it, just find a group of friends, tell them the rules, and start playing. But yeah, that's TTG. The Run Up creator. Run Up is another map that was initially made for Run and Gun. I personally know the creator of this map. His name is UglyCuh, and he personally made this map for Run and Gun. It turned into one of the most prolific H&G maps. H&G is a playstyle called Hide and Gun, which is where you do the opposite of Run and Gun and you just use walls. This map has become a staple for H&G 1v1s and H&G, I guess, 2v2 CVCs. Some people like to play it in that regard. But me personally knowing the creator on Xbox, he told me he hates this map because he is solely in love with Run and Gun, and this map turned into H&G. So he hates this map, but it's his most popular. It's had many remakes on PlayStation as well, and I heard it's very popular over there. But yeah, it was originated on Xbox. Creator does not like it because it did turn H&G. So I thought that was funny, and I thought I'd let you guys know. But yeah, that's Run Up. Houdini. Houdini is a trick learned from H&G. It kind of boosted the playstyle of Hide and Gun. Originally, Hide and Gun started from losers that didn't want to run out and were scared to run out. But then once it became a playstyle, people started learning more exploits and little tips and tricks to be the best at H&G. And Houdini was one of those tricks. Basically, if you were to look over the wall, you can see someone, correct? Now, if you aim your gun, specifically a suppressed weapon, it makes it easier. You can do it with any weapon, but if you aim the weapon, press LS on the left stick of your controller to hunch over, you could put that suppressor through the wall and shoot through the wall, and that is called Houdini. This trick really blew up the H&G side of things. It's a very vital key trick that a lot of people that want to get into Hide and Gun need to learn, honestly. Some people might call Houdini a cheat, but I just look at it as just an exploit that top players use. And if you are a top player, you're going to use this exploit if you are playing hide and gun. Again, do not use this in run and gun. It is very dirty in run and gun, but hide and gun, it is fully usable. Auto aim versus free aim. Now, auto aim versus free aim is the age-old question, which one is better? Personally, there is very big skill sets in both. There's large skill sets in free aim and there's large skill sets in auto aim. Auto aim is easier because it does lock on, but once you play with the top 1% and the top competitive players, there's more to it than just locking on. There's angles, there's spawn points, there's reaction, there's 2-steps, 360s, when to roll, how to roll. With free aim, whoever has the best aim and comes out. I don't know too much, so I'm not going to give my opinion on that. But yeah, this has always been a rivalry, kind of like Xbox versus PlayStation. There's always a rivalry because there's another side. This is kind of the same thing with there's another side. So there's always going to be a rivalry if there's something opposite. But yeah, that's auto aim and free aim. I mean, there's cool people in free aim that I play with, and there's cool people in auto aim. So it's either or for me. Tier 4, the Abyss. Transition from free mode to team deathmatches. So when you first load up GTA, the very first thing that you load into is free mode. Now, transitioning from free mode to team deathmatches or run and gun in this instance was everybody's part 1 into the community. Me personally, I used to watch Expert Thief and Louis Caliber. They used to have a series called Bullying the Bullies, where they would go around and protect people that were getting killed by tryhards. And I was always the highest level in the lobby, so I went around and doing that too. And I met this one guy named Copper, and he invited me to a team deathmatch, and we started playing team deathmatches. This was before run and gun was even called run and gun, and I was co-leader of his crew called Thug, and that's eventually how I got into run and gun. Now for this entry, I just specifically want to talk about when helmets were introduced into the game, which was a part of the last team standing update, which came out like October 2nd of 2014. That really transitioned a lot of people from free mode to team deathmatches, because in free mode, the most OP thing was a tank. And looking at it now, tank could be taken out with a couple RPGs. And if you weren't in a tank, it was all about assault rifles, snipers. It was pretty basic. But as soon as helmets were introduced, a lot of people started wearing helmets, and it really pushed people from free mode into team deathmatches, where there was more rule sets, kind of like run and gun, where it was ARs only, no helmets, no Lester. And yeah, that was an initial migration from free mode to team deathmatches, and it brought a lot of people to run and gun. Original competitive playstyle. In mid 2014 to 2015 is when run and gun kind of got coined, and after that it kind of blew up to kind of what it is today. But before then, there was another playstyle. There wasn't really a term or a name coined for it, but the basic rules were ARs only, no Lester. At the time, there were no helmets, so that wasn't really a rule set of like no helmets, but everybody kind of agreed on ARs only and no Lester. Basically, when someone says no Lester, in the game, you can call Lester and expose everybody else's dots on the map. But that was one of the rule sets back then to not do that. And that playstyle was made by Vitzy, or King Vitzy. He is leader of UTLX back then, and he is leader of Gods currently. I also do have an interview with him on my channel. I'll link it down below. If you guys want to go check that out, go show some love. Really learn about the past of GTA and kind of how it was formed to what it is today. You guys can go check that out. GTA forums. So nowadays, if you're wanting to do a CVC or a crew versus crew, you're able to hit up a leader on Instagram, on Facebook, or any way to really contact them and set that up. But back then in 2013, they didn't really have social media for crews at the time. And a lot of people like Sean Reaper would just find crews in public lobbies and challenge them to crew versus crews or CVCs. But there was also a website called GTA Forums where people would post their crews and call out other crews for CVCs. It was kind of like the original hub for GTA Online at the time. There was many crews kind of like PBNK, UTLX, and many more of like the beginning team deathmatch crews. So going through GTA forums, I actually typed in UTLX just to see if there was any posts based around that crew in general. And as you see here, there's a lot of people just basically saying how to join UTLX. This was beginning of 2014. I couldn't find, but I'm pretty sure there's posts from late 2013 as well. Also doing some more research, I typed in this one crew called Killers on a Rampage, or KOAR. And the earliest post I could see from them is about January 2014. So yeah, that's the earliest I could find for GTA forums competitive side of team deathmatches. But yeah, this was just the original hub for picking up players, calling out CVCs, basically how to join crews and getting your name out there initially. So there was either two ways to really find crew versus crews, either in a free mode, find a lot of people with the same tag, call them out, or on GTA forums. GTA forums is still up to this day, but yeah, talking to multiple people, especially from the interviews I've done with like Vitzy and Sean Reaper, they go into depth about how they used to find crew versus crews back then. Original CVCs. Now, I kind of touched on this topic in the previous entry, but the original CVCs back then were either in a public lobby, you'd find multiple people with the same tag and you'd call them out for a crew versus crew and situate the rules, or you would go on GTA forums and just call out other crews and let people know that you're open for crew versus crews. Nowadays, it's easy. You could just go ahead and text on Instagram and set it up through there. It's kind of more modernized now, but back then it kind of was like an underground feature to really do crew versus crews with other competitive teams. But yeah, that's kind of how the original CVCs were set up. Rockstar Twitch tournament streams. So in the beginning of GTA 5, Rockstar used to actually host crew versus crews on Twitch. And if you go to twitch.com/rockstargames and scroll all the way down to about 12 to 11 years ago, you can actually see when they start, they're still up. The very first crew versus crew was actually two crews, one called Unfair Advantage and the other one was the Agency. And that crew versus crew really wasn't team deathmatch rules. It was kind of just all out war. There was really no like professional or competitiveness to it until the CVC against Los Vagos Bandidos or PB&K versus Killers on Rampage. That one kind of took it to a next level of competitiveness and really showed the top 1% of GTA at that time. And a huge one also, if you scroll back to 11 years ago, there was another CVC, basically Sons of Lost Souls versus Fame crew. Fame is UTLX. I spoke to Vitzy about this and he told me how it kind of was set up. You basically just send an email in about information of your crew and they choose your crew to be a part of the event. And Fame was chosen to be a part of the CVC event. If you watch through the live stream, you can see how surprised the developers were. Basically with the skills, they'd never seen people play like that before. And it was a big step up for the community and it brought some more people to the competitive side of GTA as run and gun, team deathmatches in general. But yeah, if you guys are interested in more talks about that, I talked about it with Vitzy during our interview, which is linked in the description. You guys can go check it out and really learn more about the past of GTA. If you guys want to check it out yourselves as well, you can go to twitch.com/rockstargames and check them out yourself and see how it was playing back then. RB double roll. Now, I also want to start talking about the lesser known tricks that you can do in run and gun. I mean, this one is pretty dirty, so I don't necessarily do it much myself. A lot of people do use it in H&G or hide and gun. It's basically just called a RB double roll, or people just call it a double roll. So the basics of the mechanic is if you roll, you can cut off your roll by pressing RB and your character RBs on a wall, and then it resets your roll so you can just roll again. A lot of people use it when they're running in the open. They roll, cancel their roll by RBing, and then it makes the other person roll as well, naturally, because they see someone roll. And then you bring yourself off of the wall and then you just counter roll them and you get the easy kill. But yeah, next time you hear someone say double roll or RB roll, this is what they mean. Gas canister roll. Another trick that you can also use when playing run and gun is called a gas canister roll. It's basically just canceling your roll. If you're playing on standard settings on Xbox, this is the simplicity of it. You basically hold down LT to aim. At the same time, you open your weapon wheel, which is LB, and then you scroll up to the gas canister and you roll. It doesn't necessarily need to be a gas canister in that place. I mean, it could be a sticky bomb as well, but as long as you're going to that section and rolling, it'll cancel your roll. But on their screen, it shows that you're halfway rolling and it naturally just makes them counter roll. When you do that, it also recovers your roll, so you could just counter roll back. It's just another version of a double roll. This one is a bit more difficult than the RB double roll because you have to press so many buttons in a quick succession, but once you do get it down, it is extremely OP. I personally like to use it because it keeps my movement pretty quick, but sometimes I do kind of feel dirty using it, but other times I just like the way it looks, so I'll use it. But yeah, that's just another way you can cancel your roll. Tier 5. The deep end. Is run and gun dead? Now, the age-old question that everybody always asks or assumes, is RNG dead? I mean, there's different influx of run and gun, the different eras, as you say. In the beginning era, it was 2014, 15, 16, and then H&G started taking a rise. And then there was another boost also in 2018 to 2020 due to TikTok, COVID, and a lot of older players moving to Red Dead and newer run and gun players coming to the game. And then there was another era from like 2021 to 2023 that kind of blew up. It was kind of after the TikTok era. It wasn't as big. And then 2023 to present, it's kind of like pre-GTA 6 where people are kind of just hopping back on to play run and gun just to get used to the game before GTA 6 comes out and get back into the competitive spirit, I say. But yeah, I don't think RNG will ever officially 100% die out. There's influxes and then there's lows and there's highs. There's going to be people that stop playing. There's going to be people that start playing. It's never going to officially die out. As long as both teams agree ARs only, no helmets running out, there will always be run and gun. Will run and gun be in GTA 6? I get this question a lot in my live streams, especially on TikTok, is people asking, will there be run and gun in GTA 6? In my opinion, I think there will be run and gun in GTA 6. At the end of the day, it's just a rule set that as long as all people agree to that rule set of ARs only, no helmets, just running out clean, then there will be run and gun in GTA 6. There's also going to be other playstyles like H&G, TTG. I do know that there will be a switch shoulder mechanic, kind of similar to Red Dead Redemption 2, that will add another flip onto gameplay. Run and gun will be different due to that, but it doesn't mean that you can't find a group of 10 other people that agree to run out, use ARs, and just play clean. Run and gun will be in GTA 6, just like other playstyles as well. It might not be the #1 competitive playstyle, but for fun, people can always play run and gun no matter what. But yeah, so that's my opinion on if GTA 6 will have run and gun. The tap tap hold method. Now this one is a very unknown mechanic or tip that not a lot of people really know. I mean, there's quite a few people that actually know the tap tap hold sprint mechanic. If you have speedrun on your account, you could tap tap hold and it'll even run quicker than the normal speedrun. If you don't have speedrun, you can still tap tap hold. It probably won't run as fast as like a speedrun account, but it will make your character run faster. This mechanic is basically tap tap holding your A button, but repeatedly. So tap 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 tap, but that second tap you're holding for about a second or two, or however long. You'll get the hang of it the more you do it. But yeah, I mean, this is how you make your character run a bit faster. Speedrunners do it, like Dark Viper AU. A bunch of different people use it when speedrunning because it does make your character run faster. Teleporting. This is also a mechanic that really nobody knows about except from a select few of the top 1%. I personally learned this one from watching my friend Viper play and Diety play. They use this mechanic a lot, especially in Training Facility 2 H&G, but you can also use this in Run and Gun because it's not necessarily cheating, it's just your character lagging. If you run close to certain walls at a certain angle and pull your character away, it will deliberately make your character run on the other side of the wall on other people's screens, but on your screen, you're running correctly on the opposite side of the wall. And it's basically just a teleportation. It doesn't teleport your character to the other side of the wall until you start shooting or after a couple seconds. So it's a good way to rush people like on Training Facility 2, or if you are playing Run and Gun, it could possibly mess you up as well because on your screen, you're in the right spot, but on other people's screens, you're on the other side of the wall and they can kill you. And then you're just going to be confused on how you died. That's just a mechanic. If you get used to it and you can confidently get it down, then you can easily get it. There's also another teleporting mechanic that a lot of free aimers use. That one is called lag bot. It's where they intentionally like two-step to the left or the right and their character slides and then teleports it back to where they originally are. And that helps, especially in free aim, because you can't lock on. So if you're locked on or if you're shooting one person and then he teleports back to where he's originally at, it'll really mess you up. And auto aim, it kind of messes me up as well when people use it. But yeah, there's just two different ways of teleporting if you get used to it. I also do have a tips and tricks video down in the description. If you guys want to check it out, I do have how to teleport and how to lag bot all inside that video. So you guys can get a more depth knowledge report on how to do those things. RNG community deaths. Okay, and now we're at the last entry of this iceberg. I hope you guys enjoyed. But yeah, I just wanted to speak on the deaths in the community. Ever since the beginning of GTA RNG, there have been multiple deaths in the community. I think the very first one that I remember being a little kid was a guy named Dank Don't Hate. It was all in caps. I think he passed away. I'm not 100% sure. It was probably 2015 to 2016. I don't want to get into how he passed away because it is personal. But yeah, I remember he was one of the first people to pass away. I remember one of the biggest impacts someone's death had on me in the RNG community was a guy named Foolie BILLZ. A lot of people may know him. He was one of the more known crew leaders. He was a crew leader of Fool at the time, and he passed away, and that was a huge shock to me. I think this happened around 2020 to 2021. But I remember people texting on Instagram just letting me know about it. So I just want to make this part of the section just to, say RIP BILLZ. His name still lives on. People still remember him. He's helped a lot of people. He was a very nice guy to everyone. I remember playing with him back in old gen GTA, even going to Red Dead Redemption 2. He came to Red Dead Redemption 2, and I still remember he never really cared about competitiveness. He kind of just played the game for fun, which he was never really into drama. I remember on Red Dead, he didn't even care about kills. He would just run around with a tomahawk, just trying to knife people, tackle them, and he was just laughing all the time. But yeah, I just want to say RP BILLZ. And yeah, I'm not sure about PlayStation, but Xbox, those are the two most memorable, people that passed away in the RNG community specifically. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any on PlayStation, y'all can just leave it in the comments and let me know about them. And that marks the end of this GTA Run and Gun Iceberg. If you guys enjoyed, please like, subscribe, comment down below saying Run and Gun Iceberg or RNG Iceberg, just to show that you guys made it all the way through. I really appreciate everybody who made it to this point. If you guys are interested in joining the community, we do have a Discord called the Vice City Discord, which is in preparation for GTA 6. That link will be at the top of the description. If you guys want to come by and join the community, we much appreciate it. And I also do stream on YouTube and TikTok Run and Gun. If you guys ever want to play Run and Gun, just add me on Xbox, txics. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to everyone and have a wonderful day. Bye.